Oh, dude, it's really, the most important thing is, don't quit, and it's going to get rough, and it's going to get tough, and there are going to be times where you're not making money, and you're going to want to quit, and you're going to want to get a regular job, but don't, because, the more you grow, the louder your voice, and we all want to talk, and we all want you to be a part of it, and...
This is the Wise Guy Radio Show, a podcast dedicated to educating and inspiring through conversations with today's top talents in the world of glass. We will be dissecting their journeys in hopes to deliver actionable content that you, the artist, can start implementing now, helping you grow not only as a creative spirit, but also a successful artistic entrepreneur. With a little organization, relationship building, and your artistic ability, you can obtain greatness. Climb aboard, whether an artist, retail owner, or enthusiast. We have a ton of fun in store for you. Welcome to the Wise Guy Radio Show. This episode of the Wise Guy Radio Show is sponsored by Wise Guy Media, a new company dedicated to showcasing the talents and offerings of their customers through podcasting, eye-catching graphics, logo, and customized web design. Established in 2015, Wise Guy Media is continuing to push the elements of web and logo design with outside-of-the-box ideas and up-to-date graphic generating programs. Whether you want to launch your own podcast, need a website, or a new logo for your brand, they have all your needs covered to promote yourself and get your brand recognized in your industry. To see what they've been up to, check out their site, www.sonyermedia.com/wiseguy, for a sample of what they've been doing to help get this podcast off the ground. That's www.sonyermedia.com/wiseguy. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Wise Guy Radio Show, Episode 9. So this episode is the third part of my conversation with Chris Dickey, the Goblin King. We got into more of the business side of stuff with this conversation, what motivates him in terms of his business, and also why he, at this point in time, doesn't really worry about the business side of things, which I find is interesting because the more I get into these conversations, the more that I am finding that not only are a lot of glass artists more into the art side, but they don't honestly care about the business side. So part of my whole point of the show is to explore and talk about the business side of being a professional artist. So when it comes into conversations where, an artist doesn't like necessarily talk about business or even keep books, I will then still, in the conversation, give little tidbits and tips on ways that you can continue to run a business, keep track of your stuff, your expenses, your costs, inventory, all that kind of shit, all the while making it very simple and really, effortless in a sense, almost kind of like it manages itself. There's a lot of applications and businesses now that have things out there in the market that make life a lot easier for us. Like the FreshBooks one that I use. Now, I'm not sponsored by FreshBooks, but I will promote their brand because I use it and I recommend it because it makes my life as a artist and an entrepreneur a lot easier. It allows me to have a system set up so that when I do get an order in, I can immediately go into my FreshBooks app. I can open it up. I have a new client set up in there. Instead of having to put the person's name and address and information right away, I can just put in the new client in there. I can immediately put in what their order is and then print out the invoice. And then I have a little wire above my bench behind me that I have it clipped up on. And actually what I'm going to do today is take some pictures of my little setup in here, just so you guys can see what I work with, just to kind of maybe see if it could help you also set yourself up, because I'm in my garage and my space is very limited right now. Now, I am at a point where I have outgrown my garage because my wife is also an artist and we both share the space together. So I'm going to be moving out into actual studio space, but not probably for another 6 months or so. But in the meantime, I will show you guys some pictures on the show notes and what have you, how my setup is and my little routine that I go through. Because of dealing with ADHD and also having a family and being all over the place, it is very important to be organized and to have a system. So again, even through the conversations, if the artist isn't necessarily enthused or does any kind of business stuff, I still want to bring it up to help them and also help you guys start the process of actually running your business like a business. Because once you run your business like a business, it will run itself, and then you're not working for yourself necessarily. The company works for you, which, is huge. It's that whole concept of taking a vocation and making it a vacation. The idea that your work that you do is your love, so you don't work. You actually enjoy what you do, and you go play every day. Even though it's a physical, hot, creative, energy-draining playtime, it's still playtime. It's like professional baseball players that are getting paid millions of dollars to play a team sport. It's still a kid's game, and they're making millions of dollars doing it because it's fun, and it's a game, and because it's a passion, and blah, blah, blah. So anyways, guys, I'm rambling out of control here. I want to cover real quick before I get out of here the 30-day challenge. Okay, so here's what I have set up for the 30-day challenge. I got some feedback from some folks, mostly just the fact that you're participating in it, not necessarily any feedback on how you think I should run this thing. So I went ahead and took the executive decision to just figure it out myself. Also talking to my wife, who is very knowledgeable in these type of things. So again, we have an Etsy page we have set up. The Etsy page is Wise Guy. It's etsy.com/Wise Guy Radio, I believe. I'll have all of this posted up in the Facebook group page, which is facebook.com/Wise Guy Radio. What I'm going to do is every day, and I'm actually going to do it today as well, I'm going to post just today a sample picture of what I'm looking for. So the idea is that every day I want you guys to start off your shift, whether you're doing it a morning shift, midnight, whatever. But every day I want you to start your shift off making a pendant. Make the pendant anywhere ranging from $20 to $50 in retail, no more than $50. We want to be able to make these affordable and sell them. And also, by doing this, it's going to set up a routine daily for yourself to warm up. Because a lot of us like to jump into our work. And really, if you're going to go for a run, you need to stretch first. If you're going to do anything that you do in life, if you want to do it the best that you can possibly do it, you need to stretch and warm up and do whatever it is that you need to do to get yourself prepared for it. So that being said, the Facebook group page is where we will post all of these things. So what I'm going to do is on the very first day, on July 1st, I'm going to post a picture of the pendant that I made that day. Actually, let me back up. July 2nd actually is when I'm going to post it, because July 1st is the first day and you need to do the annealing process and whatever. So July 2nd, look out on the Facebook group page, and on the 2nd I will have a picture up from what I made on the 1st. So we'll run this whole everyday, process. So I'll have my picture up on the page. In the comment on that post, I want you then to post your picture of your pendant as a comment. And then in the comment, I also need you to put some details. I need your Instagram tag. I need the value of whatever you're charging for the piece. I need a brief description of what the pendant is. If you have a name for it, maybe the materials that you used, to be more specific with it. And then I also need your email in there as well, because I'm trying to basically put together a list to make this easier on ourselves, because my wife's going to help me do this to make this run smoothly. We're going to run a daily tab of who's participating, what their values are, their pieces are, because she's going to be taking the pictures that you send us and post and putting those on Etsy. So make sure that your photograph is a quality picture. And again, on today I will have on the Facebook group page just a sample picture and a little thing of what it is that I'm looking for, which again will make this way easier for all of us. Because if this works out as planned, if we have, say, 100 artists joining this thing, and we're doing this for 30 days, that's 300 pendants we're going to be posting. Or actually, no, 3,000 pendants. What am I saying? So it's a lot of damn work. But it's worth it, because my goal is, through this show, is for me to work my ass off to help you guys not have to work your ass off. I'm doing all the legwork. You guys can learn some new tips and tricks, which then is, in a sense, a hack to make what you're doing way easier, and also get you into some good habits. So that being said, check out the Facebook group page. It again is facebook.com/Wise Guy Radio, WYZGUY Radio. And today I will have up there a posted picture of a pendant with exactly what it is that we're looking for. It will have the links to the Etsy page, and that way you can share with your friends. Because what I'm thinking it'd be fun to do is to take this concept and continue it throughout the years, where every month we could do a 30-day challenge of some sort, and maybe make this like a thing where the people, the enthusiasts, the glass collectors that are listening to the show as well, and also who follow your work, will now have a new outlet to go find other work of yours. And we could even make this like a limited edition type of thing. Like, there's ways that this can evolve. But for now, the whole point of this is to create a daily habit of warming up. A quick little stretch, your wrist, your eyes, your brain, everything else. Your kiln's getting hot. Get it going. So, again, guys, I can't continue. I mean, I can't really express the words that I'm going through, the emotions that I'm feeling, the emails I'm receiving, the messages, the response for this show is honestly blowing me away. I was hoping that down the road it would get to a point to where the response would be where it is now. I was not expecting this at all. So thank you guys so much for your feedback and your comments, for the love and support. Thank you for continuing to support the show, supporting my work, my glass as an artist. It's awesome. I can't. I'm a loss of words here, which I'm not usually at a loss for words. So hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy this show. This is a redo interview with Chris Dickey, which I talk about at the beginning of our little opening. And again, you guys have a great weekend. If you're listening to this on a Wednesday or Thursday, enjoy the week. The weekend will be there soon enough. All right, kids. Take care. Love you guys. Peace. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Wise Guy Radio Show, Episode 9, Part 3 of my talk with Chris Dickey, also known as the Goblin King. And this is a bit of a redo for this episode because my dumbass accidentally deleted the entire interview with him. And so he graciously agreed to let me call him back, give me some more of his time, and now we are going to wrap up this conversation. And also gives me a chance to delve into a little bit more detail after listening to our original interview. So, that being said, welcome back to the show, Mr. Dickey, the Goblin King.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, dude. So, in the last episode, we were talking about some fun trends with the marbles out there and the groups and the explosion in the glass and the popularity of glass in general and appreciation. We covered a couple of controversial talks with the whole biting ideas and all that jazz. And today I wanted to move into more of the business side of things and really see how you run your business, because you are new in this side of the glass industry, being that you had a smoke shop that you ran. So you understand the retail side and running a business, and it sounded like you had somewhat of a successful shop until you got kind of burnt out, is what it kind of sounded like, with the frustrations you were dealing with. But now that you're independent and on your own, even though you are married with kids, just as your own business person, do you have any kind of in terms of like a routine in terms of how you get your day started off? Are you a morning person? Are you a night person? I know you're in Texas, so I'm assuming you probably do a little bit of both, but
Yeah, I swap a lot as far as where I work, and I don't really have a routine. I don't. I really just go to work, take my safety meetings when I need them, and I don't really, there's no real routine for me. I guess wake up, get coffee, work until I can't work anymore, and then go home.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time at the studio.
Heck yeah. What's your average shift like when you're working?
Oh yeah, dude. It's anywhere from 12 to 16 hours.
Nice.
When I get in it, 'cause I do crush loads, man. I can't go there for 6 hours. I can't ride a torch for 6 hours. I need more time.
Yeah. Well, I found when I used to work in studios, and you're with other artists and everybody's taking their breaks and whatever. It's easy to get into routine with the studio instead of with yourself. So you know what I mean? So I would find days, my average day when I was working in the studios would be like a 15-hour day, but in all reality I would only get maybe 6 hours of work done because everybody was fucking off or out in the back or whatever. So it's everybody's like, oh yeah, it's easier to go somewhere to work, but sometimes it's not as easy to be disciplined when you're working with a bunch of other artists.
Well, that's the catch, working with a bunch of artists. It's really good. It's really good for you to grow. It's really good for your creativity, especially, if you are somebody like me who is, learning and trying to grow and expand. Working with people, especially more skilled people around you, it helps. On the flip side of that, we're glass blowers, bro. So there's a lot of distractions at all times, from music to safety meetings to, guests coming in. There's tons of distractions, for sure. And that's the flip. You could work alone, but the problem with working alone, dude, is it's really, really, really hard to stay motivated. And not only is it hard to stay motivated, but, you get caught up in a routine of just doing the same shit every day.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
There are people out there, and this is not a bad thing. I'm not knocking at all. Their routine is 10 spoons a day. That's what they do. That's what they do every day. It's never going to change. And that's them. Now, do they make money doing it? And I'm sure they're making okay money. I'm sure they're, having fun and enjoying life and all that. But that's not in my opinion, best way to really advance yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Working in the Hidden Oaks is definitely the reason I am where I am today.
Yeah, and it seems too with your situation, you have a generational level of glass artists that are, from the guy that's just starting out to the guy that's been doing it for 25 years. It's
right.
It's pretty cool.
Whenever you started and whenever my teachers started, that wasn't a possibility. You know what I mean? That wasn't. You guys couldn't just walk into a studio down in Florida. You know what I mean? It just wasn't there. It wasn't readily available like it is today.
Yeah. Well, I know, when I first started, I'm not going to say names, but there was a guy out in California who I was talking to, and he's back before we were sharing secrets per se. He actually offered me to come out to California, but he wanted to charge me $1,200 just to walk into his studio because his concern of me seeing how his setup was.
Right.
And a setup is a big deal to me. It's like everybody, it's like race car drivers. They all have their setup for how they drive their car. If it's set up for them, they're going to be really good. But if they're driving somebody else's setup, it's not going to necessarily work as well for them.
It's still the information is still readily available, but in certain circles, especially the circles that have been around for 20 years, it's still pretty tight-lipped in that aspect. I know a lot of people who just won't teach classes. They will not teach people at all, period, in the story. And it's not that, they're assholes or anything. It's just that's the way they were brought up in the industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I've had, I'd say, I think it's been 3 studios for business-wise with people working for me. And in the very beginning of doing it, it's like, in Florida, there's you can't sign no-compete contracts. They just don't hold up in court. So I had to go on the faith with bringing these new people in who were kids that were on Fish Tour or, going to the local art college that wanted to find a new medium and also find a way to make money and pay, we all paying them piecework. But they'd come in and they'd get the fever after 3 months and think that they were the shit, and then they would leave and go out and be successful for maybe a week or two and then fall flat on their face and never blow glass again. Where I have a couple friends of mine who were some of my first apprentices when I started. I brought apprentices on. If you guys can hear, I got some crazy ass storm blowing in right now. You can hear that thunder. But yeah, dude. So I've always found that the best way to learn is to teach. So when I come up with something new, I like to teach somebody how to do it because it reinforces the step-by-step process on how to get from A to Z. But when you're teaching it, you got to be very particular with who you're showing your stuff to because, again, you show some guys some things, they think they know what the hell they're doing, and then they run off and then, don't ever come back because they, think they know what they're doing.
Absolutely. But, dude, that's kind of, I'm torn on that. I am. Because absolutely, it's interesting. Why would you spend all this time? You're taking time off the torch, using up gas, using up material. They're just going to break while they're learning to teach somebody. And then, in a matter of months, they bounce. But on the flip side of that, yeah, they bounce on you, and you've wasted a lot of time, but you've also made a huge impact in somebody's life. And though you don't get any repercussions from it immediately, that's a big deal in the long scheme, the long run of things. Being that person that says, yeah, dude, I'll show you what's up. There are plenty of people who've taken the time out to say, hey, I'll show you what's up, and they didn't ask me for a dime. So on the flip side of that, there's goods and bads.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. It's because even now, I would love to have someone come in as an assistant and help me out with doing prep work and, you know, whatever. But like with my wife and kids, like I've been talking to them about it. Like, hey, you know, would you guys be interested in doing some prep work for me or learning the reins? And like both my kids, they definitely want to get into the torch. Where like with the wife, she's an artist. Would love to get into the glass because she's very intrigued by it. But at the same time, it's like she's not sure if she wants to put the time into it, you know? So it's like I almost have to go outside of the family to find someone that is like a passion for what we do, that wants to learn and be a part of it for the long term to become as an assistant, you know?
Right. Loyalty is the key, bro. You know, and I think that's another thing that I was really drawn to about this scene, you know, and maybe I even romanticized it a little bit is, you know, it's like a brotherhood and we're a crew. And, you know, at the Hidden Oaks studio, like we are a crew of dudes who melt and we support each other, we help each other. And, you know, I like that, you know, and if you find people that are loyal like that, dude, it's something special for sure.
Yeah. That's awesome. Fantastic. So on that note, on the business side of things, what are your major outlets for your sales in terms of getting your glass out there? You know, through social media, through distributors. You hit the stores yourself.
Absolutely, almost 100% social media, dude. Facebook is what helped me get my glass out there, get my name out there, get you know, just build what I have today. I've done a lot of sales runs. You know, I've done the whole pack everything in a car and drive around the state and do that jazz. But I definitely, I sell more glass and I have more time on the torch online. You know what I mean? As far as distributors, you know, I've tried the distributor thing, dude, and I haven't had much luck. Either they don't, you know, I don't get return business from it. They got the 30% off, but then that's just one order. It's a heavy hit for somebody like me. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not Ghost. I'm not Brandon Martin. These cats who make these huge, beautiful sculptures, you know, they can make whatever they need to make and put it in a distributor's hand, and the distributors can sell it, no problem. There's plenty of loot to go around. But when you're dealing with production, you know what I mean? It's just a little bit more difficult for me. I'm sure it's different for other people, but for me, I seem to have a problem with it.
Yeah, it's interesting because that's like I just did a little quick episode last week on the pros and cons of dealing with wholesalers and distributors, and I've found the same thing because I know like back in the day, I had two distributors I sold to. One guy locally here in town that just like hit the local shops, and he was pretty consistent. But then I had a catalog out in California I sold to, and the catalog they were really consistent for a while, but then the economy started getting bad. Their business model didn't work because the economy took a shit. I mean, they basically were fronting stores the glass in hopes to get like a 30 net type thing. But they weren't getting paid like they were supposed to. So there were artists then in return that weren't getting paid, you know. And I don't have time to call a company every freaking day to see where my money's at. But this company in particular, I called these guys every single day for almost 2 months, and all they owed me was like $250. But I did it because it was all out of principle, and I was getting run around and all these different bullshit stories. So it really did turn me off at the time to the whole distributor thing. But then I've come across 2 other new companies who I do deal with, and part of what I was talking about in the show was the one pro is that, like you're saying, you have more time behind the torch. You have a distributor, they give you an order, you fill out their order, you send it to the mail. You're done with it.
Oh, dude, I know people that don't ever have to worry ever at all about any of their glass being sold ever. Mm-hmm. Like ever. Whenever they make it sold, all they have to do is sit down and work, and the guy's going to buy it off. He's going to buy it 30 points off. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But he's going to buy all of it. So, I mean, that is the big upside. If you can find a distributor that stays with you and, has constant business with you, that's something that you're going to have. It's constant business. And that's the main upside. But, again, for me, it just doesn't, I haven't had that work out yet.
Yeah.
I mean, another end of that is, I don't really make production work. I don't, so a lot of it's similar, a lot of it runs, a snore flat to snore flat to snore flat, I guess. But I don't sit down and make 100 snore flats. Each one is independently different. Mm-hmm. And you need something less. And that's not necessarily what a distributor wants. So,
yeah, I guess. Yeah, I think it's the difference between a company that hits the road compared to a company that has a catalog. You know, because when you're doing catalog work, the stores want what's in the catalog. Where like I remember back in the day when Chameleon was first out and around, and they were driving around town in this old ass station wagon. Back in the early 90s. This is before I even blew glass. Back in like 94, 95, 96. I think it was actually like 96, 97. I think is what it was when I was out of high school. But that being said, that was then when. But they started putting together a catalog and that kind of stuff. And you run into that kind of issue when you have a catalog because again you're stuck making that specific piece. Now I find it. When I had the companies, when I was doing my bigger businesses, when I had this distributors and I had the people working for me, I could dedicate one specific person to say, hey, this is your 3 models and this is all you're going to make. But they were able to make those 3 models and they were able to get them down to a science to where they were super consistent every single time, which helped them grow to become a better artist as well. So I think when you start off, if you can find someone to get under their wing that has potentially an outlet like that, it's a good way to start. But even when you're starting off new, it's like, if you get an order, from a distributor and it's a small order and it's a successful item, they may call you back and say, hey, we need 500 of those things. It might take you 6 months to make 500 of them. So in a sense, you're kind of, whatever the saying is, biting off your, whatever, the whole biting. I can't think of the thing.
That's the other thing. You need to be willing to make 500 fucking spoons. Do you want to sit down and make 500 fucking spoons? I don't. That's not why I got into it. You know what I'm saying? That's not why I got into glass. I got into glass. I mean, making money and all that jazz is great, but I don't want to sit down and make 500 spoons, bro. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I had a 50 spoon. Like right now, this is an issue I'm having. Okay, just to share with the world. Right now, I have a 50 spoon order I've been working on for a couple of weeks. Now, it's all custom line work and blah, blah, blah. But I'm sitting here making these 50 fucking spoons, and it's monotonous, and I hate it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it gets to a point where it's, I'm spending so much time and material making these spoons. Dude, I could be making snore flats worth way much more in the same amount of time using the same material. Yeah. So it's like, for me, in my situation, dude, I hate it. I can't sit down and make 50 fucking spoons, or much less 500 fucking spoons. Yeah. I like sitting down and creating, pieces, and, interesting pieces. And if I sit down and make 50 fucking spoons, man, I get on edge. You know what I'm saying? I start getting antsy.
Yeah, I get you burnt out. Like I was always, trying to say, because I would get orders like that. Like I had a distributor, he'd buy 100 of this, 100 of that, and the items were quick, easy pieces. But when I broke down the numbers and the time it took to do them,
right,
it was, I wasn't making shit. So
right, well that's what happened. Is like on this specific order, I'm actually like, I think I'm going to come out like losing money in the long run because of how long it took. You know what I'm saying? And how much material it took, and it's just crazy to me. You really got to be able to know your numbers, man. This 50 spoon order, it hit me.
yeah, and that's why, like the last episode, or not last episode, but when I did my little thing about the pros and cons of a wholesaler, in the show notes, I put in there the way I formulate my calculations for stuff, because the sample was when I used to do these 4-inch wrap and rake spoons. I knew it took a section that was a 3-inch small piece of tubing of some 1-inch heavy wall. I knew exactly how much color it took. Like I would weigh everything out or go by measurements and then calculate it down to the penny. Figured it was costing me about $10 an hour to work, and if I wanted to make $20 an hour, a profit on the net in the process, I had to make so much items per hour to make that number happen. Even though when you when you increase your volume, you're increasing your expenses, but in the long run, so what I would do, it's a tricky situation.
I think the biggest number that matters to me isn't what I'm spending, it's what I could be making. So like all that time that you spend making these 100 wrap and rake spoons, how many wise guys could you make? Mm-hmm. And how much are those wise guys worth with the same material? You know what I mean? All of a sudden, those 100 spoons, you didn't make money. You've lost money. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There are thousands, of glass blowers in this country that are perfectly fine sitting down and making wrap and rake spoons until they're done. You know what I mean? And I hope all of these wrap and rake spoon orders get to these cats. Like, these are the cats that want these orders, that need these orders, and that live off of these orders. I can't just, I can't do it. I'm not one of those cats.
Yep. Yeah, I think though in the beginnings as being an artist in this medium, it's beneficial to get orders like that because of the repetition, the muscle memory. It teaches you. But like, I did wrap and rake spoons for like freaking 8-9 years. I did inside outs. I had like 25 freaking items in my catalog. But that all led up to where I'm at now.
I've done years of proto.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've done years of proto. I did spoons. I think that's what's attributed to my I can't do these spoons anymore attitude. Mm-hmm. Whenever I first started, bro, I didn't care what I was making. Like, whatever it wasn't good enough to be perfect, so I needed to keep making them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I would kill for 100 spoon order. That was the way I lived in the beginning, because you're right. Like, that's how you learn, everything, muscle memory and your spider crawl and everything about how the glass works. And, because that's key, dude. Knowing how the glass works. Not like, okay, it's hot, now it moves, but at what point does it move? And how where is it going to move? At what rate is it going to move? It's like all those things. And when you start breaking it down, into like what colors you're using and the viscosity of those colors and the COE and how these colors combine, well, then you're starting to get deeper, and that, you're getting more educated.
Yeah.
And that's only going to come from your production, bro. Yep. Like, you got to do that production in your game.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I didn't do 9 years of it. No, but it's a different world. You know what I mean? Whenever you started, bro, there weren't 100,000 glass blowers trying to make these production spoons and sell them. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
There was, what was there? There was, in 1996, there might have been 200 people in America, like, trying to make maybe probably less. I don't know.
Yeah,
probably less. I don't know.
There was probably 200 glass artists.
You guys had you know what I mean? Like, there was a surplus of demand.
Yep.
You guys couldn't make enough spoons. You couldn't make enough chillums, and they were simple wrap and rake or inside out fume spoons.
Yep.
Like, these aren't crazy, drastic, dramatic pieces. These are simple pieces, and you guys could have sold them anywhere and everywhere all the time. It's not like that for the new age glass blowers.
Yep.
Like, I can't survive on fume spoons. There's 100,000 motherfuckers out there making fume spoons. I have to find a voice, and I have to find it quick.
Yep.
Because if not, you're going to drown out.
Yeah, I agree, and that's like I think now in the way the industry's gone through conversations with other artists, guys that have been doing it as long as I have compared to guys like that have been doing it like you for 4 or 5 years, and it's a completely different environment now. You can start off, if you can get good enough to a point where you can produce a nice high-end line of glass, potentially you could sell that high-end line of, glass-wise all the fucking time. But you got to find your niche. You got to find your character. You got to find your specific style, your market, your brand. Like I was saying with your snore flats, like I could go into a shop and I would see a Sherlock in your shape and the patterns that you do with your little attachments to them, and I would know that was your work just by seeing,
right. Right. And you either find a niche and you find it quick, or you better get used to fighting 100,000 people with production work.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's the craziest part about it. Just coming from in 2010 going to Champs, you know what I mean? Seeing Champs and AGE in 2009 and 2010, and then seeing AGE and Champs in 2013, 14, and 15. It's a completely different monster, bro. Completely different.
Yeah.
You've got, it's tripled in size. You know what I mean? Look at the DFO. The DFO, in 2012, the DFO was maybe, 600 people. It was just that one spot in Cornerstone.
Yeah, Cornerstone.
Yeah, Cornerstone. And now they can't even hold it in that area. They have to take out the whole street. You know what I mean? There's thousands of people that come to this thing. it's growing at an exponential rate, bro.
Yeah. Especially with all the outside companies that are starting to come about that aren't glass, they're accessories and the things that go along with them. So we have to adapt our glass because, like, you know, the male joint for the longest time, it was 19 millimeter. And then there was an 18.5 or something like that. And they, like, you'd call this company wanting, I need some 19s. Well, they don't make 19s anymore. It's all 18.
Yeah, well, you know, or shit, dabbers, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Dabbers, that's people, there are companies that direct, completely with our industry, and all they make is, like, they'll make a dabber, which isn't glass at all.
Mm-hmm.
Or these rubber dishes, or whatever they are, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really dab, so whatever these dishes are made out of that, the dabs don't stick to, they're all influencing our industry. They don't all wear glass.
Yeah, but it's funny, man, is the silt mats they're using is what that is, like a neoprene material. That shit's been used in the cooking industries. Like when I ran the sandwich shops, we used to make all of our cookies on those things because nothing would stick to them.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, it's cool to see people that are going outside and finding things that already exist that they can then bring into this market and use it in a whole different way that nobody ever
How about
thought
those cats that are building the electronic nails out of, like, trains and all sorts of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
Boxes.
Yeah, the dudes that are sitting there.
I saw one made out of an old school Nintendo.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, exactly. There's guys that are sitting there. They got their PS5 or whatever the hell they got out there now, and their nails built into their freaking machine, and they're sitting there and they got their rig. They got their Bluetooth controller.
Dude, stoner ingenuity on that one. Right?
Yeah.
You gotta have stoner ingenuity.
Yeah, and everybody's like, "Oh, these stoners are stupid, man. There's some
some
smart stoners."
Well, right.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
I don't know. It's a fun thing, dude. It's growing fast. As far as the business side of it, it's rapidly ever changing. It is what it appears to me.
Yeah.
Like it forever seems to be changing in all aspects, not just the glass blowers, but like the people that actually make raw material. Dude, that's constantly changing.
Yeah.
And I mean, as far as like an industry of cool, I mean, nobody lives in an industry of cool like the people making the glass. They create that industry of cool with all these hype tellers, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then people, I don't know if you're listening and you remember when slime came out, people have like all but forgotten about slime. You know what I mean?
I still love that shit.
Oh, dude, slime is my jam. That's my number one accent color. If I'm doing an accent color on anything, I want slime is my first preference. But it's almost all but forgotten. Everybody wants this atomic kumquat, or everybody wants this. I remember when Raindrop came out and people nearly had a heart attack over Raindrop, and I was like, but that's that height, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Living in that height.
Yeah, that's funny, and that's why I look at it like the glow stuff now, the UV light stuff. I remember when I first started, we had the uranium glass from some cat out of Texas that he had a stockpile of old uranium shit. Like it's still red on the Geiger counter. It was a low level, but it's still red. And
I got some U glass in the back.
Yeah. And that stuff was the shit. But now with the new stuff coming out, it's like it's comparable to that stuff, but it's much safer.
When I buy glass, it needs to be able to be pulled down for an affordable cost, or I can't. You know what I mean? I can't charge. I'm not at a point where I can charge that much money for my pieces.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? My snore flats right now are at a bill 50 wholesale, so that doesn't, it doesn't pay for the pound and a half of color, plus the other quarter pound that's going to go into the tube pool. Then I got to pull it down. I got to wag it. I got to by the time you're done paying for all the gases and bullshit, I don't make as much money as if I pull down just candy cane or candy corn tubing.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it's interesting, man. I remember when Cobalt was out, and that was like the most expensive glass out there. Cobalt and Amber Purple, it was like $55-$65 a pound. And now here we are 10, 15 years later, and it's like $100 a pound, $120 a pound for color sometimes.
Dude, look at Frick.
Yeah.
Look at Frick, dude. From what I understand, they were all but giving it away in the beginning of Frick.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then, like, whenever I started buying glass, I was getting it for $40 a pound, a jar.
Mm-hmm.
Every jar was $40, and I was like, sweet, let's do this. And that's what really pushed me to doing more line work and focusing on line work and giving up production. You know, the price has doubled on frit, and you know, when you jump the price like that, the production worker has to be like, oh damn, you know what I mean? I was like, okay, so there's a huge chunk of what I am making, taken out. You know what I mean? I was like, that sucks. I was like, well, if I'm going to spend that much money on glass, I might as well just do line work.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like when the gold and silver prices started going through the roof. You know, it's like I remember a troy ounce coin of silver was like $16. Now it's like 40. Or with gold being you know $1,000 a fucking ounce, when a small coin back in the day maybe cost me $80. Now it would cost me crazy.
And whenever I started, which was not that long ago, the silver coin was $20 some bucks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. That's why I don't fume. I haven't fumed glass, and I couldn't tell you the last time I used fume.
Right, dude.
Yeah. I love it, but I've done enough silver. I'm probably full of that shit. Which is why I'm going to bring a doctor on to talk about heavy metal toxins and shit, because the amount of exposure that we all have. You know.
Oh, absolutely. You know, Adrienne Ladd is one to talk to about that. She has so much knowledge.
Oh yeah, she's lined up already, dude.
Yeah, she's somebody that deals with that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
She is like, it affects her, so, and she shares that with people. So
yeah,
she'd be a good one to talk to when you want to talk about that shit.
Yeah, I'm actually going to a dermatologist on the 20th next month, and I'm going to bring my recorder and you know, have an interview with the dermatologist on top of getting myself checked up. To talk about that kind of stuff, and then I'm going to bring Adrienne on that week as well for her show. And those that don't know who we're talking about, she does the bacon face pendants. She goes by Glass Happy. Super cool chick.
Yeah.
You know, she's definitely established a name for herself. So I'm excited to bring her on. Yeah, good old Adro. She's good shit.
Uh-huh.
So along the business side, I kind of move forward with it too. Do you do bookkeeping? Do you do P&L statements? Do you know, like how do you keep track of your business, or do you like, do you just kind of fly by the seat of your pants?
I'm kind of a simple pirate in that aspect, bro. I just recently got my first batch of stickers. Like, I don't keep track of any of that. I just melt and make what money I make and move on. There's no, because there's so much loss, especially when you're beginning, to keep track of, any real numbers is difficult. You know what I'm saying? I'm at a point I could now. I'm sure I could. I just don't.
Yeah. Well, you know what I do, man, is I'm out here 7 days a week, and I have a pot that I use, an old cooking pot for my scrap dish, basically. And so, because for taxes, if you can do a quarterly tax or your yearly tax, I've always filed yearly self-employment tax, and then you count your losses and shit. But what I've always done is I've always weighed out the bucket itself before anything's in it, and I have it written down so I know what it is, and then I weigh it, not every time, but I have weighed it once a week or once a month, just to get an idea of what it is, and then I just subtract the weight difference, and I know that number of pounds minus the weight of the pot is times like 6 days a week or 7 days a week is how much shit I'm throwing away every week. And then you calculate that by 52 weeks in a year, and and then you do an average number of what your materials cost, $2 a pound or whatever. It's amazing the tax benefit you can have by keeping track of just that one small, simple thing, just from weighing your pot empty, weigh it at the end of the week, and then write that number down, and then times that shit by 52 weeks in a year times 7, whatever, and you'd be amazed how much money you can save on paying taxes just from that loss.
Holy crap! You went out your ways, dude. See, like that's so much more advanced than I am, bro. I just I'm simple, man. I just sit in front of the torch.
Yeah, man, but that's simple. It's a simple thing.
You know what I mean? I just sit in front of the torch, and I'm sure, one day I'll get around to writing down my books. I know my wife wants me to keep track of that shit, but
you should have her do it for you.
Yeah.
Seriously, I'm not kidding, dude. You ever keep all your receipts and shit? Keep an envelope, and every Friday,
I always like to do bookkeeping on my glass shit.
In the long run, man, if you found it made you more money, I bet you she'd be all over it.
Yeah.
Because in the long run, by covering your corners and shit, you'd be amazed the amount of more profit you can bring into your business by knowing where your shit's going.
Oh, well, I mean, no doubt. I mean, if I paid more attention in school, I just I never really care. That's my biggest. That's not something I've ever really cared about.
Yeah.
And it's kind of that's a negative impact across the board in my life. Is I don't really care about money or keeping track of money or any of that. And it's, I should and I need to, and I know it would help me out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's never really caught my attention, I guess. And
Yeah.
Ups and downs to it.
Well, that's part of my whole, scheme of my show is trying to like, hopefully influence those out there to run your business like a business. It's not always easy to, set up a system to get your shit going and, keep track of everything. But with the way our technology is run, it's easier, way, way easier than what it used to be. But like, I used to live day by day by day, like not really giving a shit. And then I was listening to a show, one of my financial podcasts, and this guy was talking about retirement. And he was telling a story. He was a financial advisor. He was telling a story about a couple that came, and the couple was financially wealthy, but they didn't really have much in retirement, and they were like in their 40s. And the story basically was that they went to go see their aunt, who was in her 90s, just to check up on her. And they went to go get her a glass of water, and he opens up their fridge, and the fridge is empty. And she literally had cans of dog food in her cabinets because she couldn't afford to go buy food because of her medication. So it's like, I heard that and I was like, there's no fucking way. But it's true that that's the reality. So with technology and medical science and everything else, we're all going to live probably till we're 120 years old. I mean, who knows? But that being said, I personally don't want to be eating dog food when I'm in my 80s. I want to have,
I don't know if I want to be in my 80s. Like, I don't want to live 120 years. Like, I'm looking at people today in their 90s and maybe not look happy, dog. Like,
no, I feel you, dude. No, if you got good health, it's a different story. But yeah, I agree because I'm like almost 40 here. And I'm 40 almost sucks sometimes with all my aches and pains and bullshit. But
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm growing pains.
Yeah, but I'm still looking out for it. That just in case I get to a point to where I'm going to get to that retirement age.
Yeah.
But I always say I'm never going to retire. Like I say, I retired when I graduated high school. I mean, that was when I retired. So, but I'm still looking at myself and my family and my kids' future and their college being paid for, and myself having a retirement, so that if I want to go travel to Europe for 3 weeks, I can financially afford to go do that because I love this country and I want to see this country as much as I can, but I also want to see the rest of the world and have opportunities to do things. And even just by putting away $25 a week into a small self-employment tax, retirement type thing. I mean, literally in 30 years, you could have several $1 million in a retirement fund for yourself. That's tax-free as well. So, and also just something to think about,
Dropping knowledge bombs.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, like, I got this thing written down. If you put away 3.6% of your profits annually away into what's called a SEP, which is a self-employment retirement fund, it's not only beneficial for you to have retirement and down the road, but it's also a tax shelter. You're going to have a savings account. Like, there's all these little things you can do, which, again, is part of what I want to do with this show. Whether people implement it or not, I hope they do, but I still want to get the knowledge out there. Like, it's because it's definitely beneficial in the long term. So, all right, dude. Well, I want to now move a little bit forward into our lightning round, which we did last time, but we're going to do it again because I deleted it.
Did you get that lightning sound?
I do have the lightning sound. Yeah. I will throw that in the edit when I do the post-production part of it.
Sweet.
Oh, yeah. So, all right, man. Well, let's go into the lightning round. And in this lightning round, we are going to have some questions. These are quick questions with a 30 to 60-second answer. And you can expound upon them if you'd like a little bit longer. Not a big deal. But just try to keep them short and sweet. And let's see what you got here. So, that being said, if you could work with any living glass artist that you haven't worked with before, who is it and why?
I really want to work with everybody. I don't have a one, but if I guess either Darby or Jason Lee, they're the ones that really lit my fire. So I guess they would be on my top. Ghost and Brandon Martin have to be in there too.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. If you could describe the sound of glass cracking in one word, what is it?
Kink.
How about an emotional response?
Hate that noise.
Your top 5 favorite colors?
Black, purple, green, orange. Black, purple, green, orange. I don't know. I guess yellow or white.
Okay. When you're in the studio, are you a TV guy, a radio guy, or both?
I used to be a TV guy, but they took the TVs out, so now it's all radio.
Oh, all right. Hell yeah. Yeah, I find when you're working in a studio with more people, it's difficult to have a TV going.
Oh, dude, it was fun. Like, it was working out really good. We just got one guy came in, and he wasn't able to work with TVs, and we had to get rid of him.
Interesting. Hell yeah. What is your worst injury you have ever had?
I put my whole hand through the torch.
Fun.
That one was the worst for me.
How long did it take you to heal up?
A month.
Yeah.
Like a solid month. My whole right hand was basically a boil.
Lovely.
Yeah, it was a rough night, brother.
Yeah, dude. And what sucks is it's usually really even rougher about 2 months later when all your nerves are growing back.
Oh, dude, it was no, it was bad that night. It was really,
no, I know.
Dude, I'll never forget that ever.
Yeah, I've been there, done that, dude. It sucks. Twice I've done it actually. Not my whole hand,
up
but
tattoos, little pieces of tattoos have left my body to the torch. So
yeah. I'm dealing with a burn on my foot still, man. This shit hurts. If you could give your beginning glass-blowing self any advice, what would it be?
Slow down.
Hell yeah, sweet. And my last and final question, which is a fun one. If you were stranded on an island that had a glass studio on it and only supplied your gases and kiln, what 5 items would you bring?
I would bring my torch. I would bring raw material. I would bring...
What raw material would you bring specifically?
Oh, but do I have to like break it down like that? Like one?
You get 5 items.
Oh, shit. Only 5 items?
Yep.
Then I would need a tube of... I need my torch. I need a tube of 38. I would need my reamer. I would need my bowl push. And I would need... Is that it? I got one more. Reamer, bowl push, tweezers.
You know the one answer everybody keeps forgetting?
What's that?
Your glasses.
Oh, dude, yeah, dude. My eyes.
Yep.
Damn.
That's why it's a fun question, man. it's tricky, right?
5 items is not enough.
I know, but you can because you can make reamers out of wood on the beach. You can use the sand if you need to make glass.
Really, really cool thing that Timmy Time, his name is Tim Moore, he does that time.
Uh-huh.
He actually was telling a friend of mine, he was showing them that you don't need tools at all because you can use glass to do everything. And I was like, what do you mean? He literally showed how you can make tools out of glass. It blew my mind. You're very smart. I need my eyes.
Yep.
So I guess take away the bowl push. I can do something else.
Sweet. There you go. Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be compiling these answers too on our website, and which our website should be up and running this week. We got the old one's still going, but the brand new bells and whistles is going to hopefully be up at the end of this week, and I'll be compiling all this information. So I want to kind of keep a track of what everybody's saying because it's fun. I didn't want to do like the whole, if you're stranded on an island bullshit, but I thought it'd be kind of a fun concept because everybody's got different answers because there's some things you just don't think about.
Well, dude, my eyes are really important. I can't believe I didn't think about my eyes, dude.
Yeah, man. That's good shit.
All right, bro.
So, yeah, man. So one last little thing. If you had any short parting piece of advice you can give a newbie out there.
Oh, dude, it's really, the most important thing is, don't quit. And it's going to get rough and it's going to get tough. And there are going to be times where you're not making money. You're going to want to quit and you're going to want to get a regular job, but don't because, the more you grow, the louder your voice. And we all want to talk. And we all want you to be a part of it, and just don't quit, man. Don't quit.
Yeah. Awesome. Great advice. All right, my dude. Well, I greatly appreciate it again, you coming on and doing this little retake of your part 3. And
dude.
gotten a good response so far from your shows. So, again, thank you so much.
Cool, dude.
And I will be in touch. We'll talk about Disney and melting glass and getting your ass down here to Florida.
Wunderbar. That's what I want to do, bro. I need to get my ass out in Florida.
Yes. ASAP.
All right, dude. Well, tell your wife I said hey and go to the beach for me.
I will do it, my man. Enjoy the
right.
Texas weather.
Peace, brother.
All right, man. Peace. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the Wise Guy Radio Show. If you have any questions, comments, or remarks, please leave them in the show notes page area where it says comments. We'll see you soon. Have a wise night.